guys, welcome to another episode of Talking to Strangers, your favorite podcast. Today we're going to talk about relationships.
Welcome everybody. We're pretty excited because this episode has pretty juicy stories. They are really interesting and very dramatic, to say the least. We're going to start to read the first story.
Okay, let's begin with the first story. Am I the asshole for telling my brother's girlfriend she dresses like a hooker? In my family's culture, both men and women dress pretty modestly. By that, I don't mean we fully cover our bodies, we just don't wear sleeveless tops or pants shirts that are shorter than knee height. It's just an unwritten rule. No one is forced to adhere or criticize if they don't. But everyone, men and women, do it anyway. A year ago, my 32 male younger brother, 27 male, started dating this girl, 26 female, whose dress sense is completely at odds with my culture. She wears translucent blouses where you can fully see her bra or nipples if she isn't wearing one. She likes to wear ripped jeans where the tears are on her butt so you can literally see her ass cheeks. To top it off, we had a memorial service for one of our relatives who passed away, and she showed up in one of those lace-up split dresses. I mean, why would you dress up like that when you know the people you are going to meet have a modest dress code? But my brother loves her, so no one says anything, even though a lot of us feel uncomfortable. More recently, my wife has been going through a stressful time at work, and she's been coping by stress and eating, so it's not a surprise she's put on a few pounds. We were at my uncle's house for a party when my brother's girlfriend jokingly passed a comment that my wife needs to get a bigger set of pants for the extra pounds she's carrying. My wife got teary eyed because she's been feeling very self conscious about her weight. I told my brother's girlfriend that my wife is fine and to refrain from giving unsolicited comments on her clothes or weight in the future. Then she said, I'm just saying she doesn't look beautiful with such tight clothes. That comment pissed me off. I told her my wife is already beautiful and will take her opinion into account once she stops dressing like a hooker. She went crying to my brother, who then got mad and started yelling at me. I told him to fuck off and to teach his girlfriend how to respect other people. Our family is split on this issue. Some have said she had it coming, while others believe I shouldn't have stopped down to her level and slut shaming her. So, am I the asshole?
I think the right is looking for it. I am very much of tasting of others, and it is much worse if they do in important events. I think shooting was a way of being, and I don't think that it should be judges. While on the streets may respect, it is not fair for someone else to arrive and doesn't care, because it will important than if they shoot it or not. And I have another story. In this story time, it was a mess. Is a guy, and he said, a few years back, my brother Aiden, who has also my best friend, took his own life. It was an incredibly painful experience for me, and I fell into a deep depression. But then I met the love of my life, my soon-to-be a wife. She's been my rock, and he has helped me heal in ways I never took possible. However, her modest ways always made hurtful comments and jokes about my brother's death before grinning and drinking out of a wine bottle. My fiancée brushes it off harmless joking, but this really gets under my skin, and I have been waiting for make mothers pay for her insensitivity. On the day of wedding, my mother-in-law showed up wearing a white gown similar to my wife's. I was really frustrated, but seeing her dressed like that set me an over the edge. So my best man and I sketches a plan. At the wedding, there was a big bear in with wine, and I knew my mother-in-law's favorites. I decided to play a prank on her. I aged a fake worms to her wine bottle. knowing she would be the only one drinking it. As the night went on, my best man made sure she was getting quite drunk. When the time was right, I hid in her doctor bottle. She took a swing right from the bottle, and I held broke loose. She screamed, threw the bottle across the room, and everyone turned to say what happened. The DJ even stopped the music to check see everything was okay. But it wasn't. My mother-in-law was running around, screaming and spitting everywhere, spilling her life and by fake corks in her drink. She fell to ground, getting and crying, and his spectacular continued for a while as everyone watched it in shock. Eventually, she ran away, got into her car, and left to the wedding. The ceremony ended shortly after, and the atmosphere was tense. When my wife found out was behind the prank, she was furious. She's been ignoring me for days now, and she believes I acted immaturely and inappropriately. I don't regret my action, and my best man and I laugh harder than ever. But now I wonder if I went too far and if I should have handled the situation differently.
Okay, in this story, a lot happened, and there's like a lot of things to cover because we're talking about family, we're talking about death and suicide, and those are not easy subjects. So, first of all, we have the fact that the mom of the wife was making really hurtful comments about his brother passing away, which is really, really rude and just is very, very awful. So I guess that in those type of cases, you obviously need to communicate about it with your partner and not just let it slide because those are topics that are very, very sensitive and of course it's never okay to make those sort of jokes, especially when when it's not none of your business. So yeah, I think that's what was missing between the communication between the couple. I don't know. And honestly, what happened at the wedding obviously was not the right thing to do, but I'm guessing that the husband really had like a moment of revenge, of pleasure by doing that. It was very, very, very childish of them to pull a prank like that. And that was not gonna fix anything. That was not gonna fix the relationship with your mother-in-law. That was just gonna make things worse. And matter of fact, the fact that you killed the whole wedding vibe and now you have a bigger problem than that. I kind of get the side of the husband that he's really angry at the mother-in-law, but of course, it was not the right thing to do. That was not the type of thing you do to fix something like that. You need to communicate and do it as a mature person, but I'm guessing he got his revenge that he wanted.
Okay, guys, now follow a story that I consider a delicate subject and of which many people do not want to accept that parents also make mistakes. So let's hear the next story. So this tells us he doesn't write English very well. Let's read what he says. I am a bad person for telling my mother that she is a terrible mother. My parents have been married for 18 years and everything was fine until 2 3 years ago. Until 2 3 years ago, household chores were divided equally. However, my mother no longer does household chores and all falls to my father. My mom works at KFS on shifts and my dad is a driver. He transports the goods to several counties and usually wakes up at 4 a.m. and comes home at 5 p.m. Mom stops cooking and cleans only sometimes. When dad comes from work, he cooks and cleans. And she always has something bad to say about what me and dad do. For example, you did not wash the dishes well, you did not sweep well, etc. And when my sister and I compliment my dad's food,
She makes the victim and says we're picky and she doesn't cook because she knows that we won't eat her food. Every time I try to tell her that it not okay, what she doesn't. She says I'm on my father's side and that I love him more. Every time my sister I need something, my dad is the one who helps us. For example, if I need her to take me to school because I woke up late and I ask her, she says she's afraid to drive, but she always drives to work. But today my mother has crossed the line. My sister had been chilled for a few days, nothing serious, but today she had a fever. That was a panic. He tends to panic when it comes to my health, that of my sister or my mother. His father died when he was 12 years old. He's afraid to lose us too. Mom said she was exaggerating and that there was nothing to worry about. My dad wanted to take my sister to the hospital, but my mom refused to come under the pretext that that would argue with the doctors and nurses. That's never happened before, and that she won't be able to get anyway, because only one parent is allowed to accompany the child. He didn't even want to trace of my sister. I dressed her. I also went with my dad to the hospital and I stayed outside to wait, but it seemed normal for her to come as mom too. My mother asked me to send her message to keep her up to date. When I got home, I gasped and told him everything I actually believed. I told her it was her job to be with my sister and that she was a terrible mother. I told her she is lazy and that she only cared about herself. She still doesn't want to talk to me and I don't feel guilty for what I told her. So I am the asshole.
I do you know all the ins and outs of your parent relationship, but you don't necessarily know what's going on between them that may and have contributed to this. But none of this is your issues to solve. Whose instead of just doing everything, your father needs to be involved in getting her the help she seems to need. You are a kid. You definitely know your problem. You said and did the right thing. Just remember to keep your head down for now. You may take her side of the fight breaks out. Thanks you for accompanying us. Tell us that you think about these stories. We play some very deep and others stressful, but life is it. So this is Talking to Strangers.